We're going to look now at the Cold War in the Middle East. When we say the Middle East, we're obviously at the middle part of the map, but we're focusing in on countries such as Egypt, Iran, Afghanistan, Israel's in here, pretty much all around the Arabian Peninsula. During the Cold War, most of the Middle Eastern countries were considered third world. Third world nations were developing, many were newly independent, but here's the important thing. They were non-aligned, meaning they didn't pick a side during the Cold War. Some of them, like Egypt, actually played one country, one side off of the other. Why is there such a big interest in the Middle East? It's quite simply the oil, right? A large amount of the oil production in the world comes straight out of this small area. So the United States and the Soviet Union are both going to have a very large interest in what's going on there. The first area, or the first part we got to look at, is the background. Now, just like we had discussed earlier, is a lot of these countries start off as colonies, and then after World War II, they become their own independent nations, right? And the Soviet Union is going to try and help prop these developing nations up, giving them money, giving them aid, trying to spread communism there, while the U.S. is going to try and do the same, but trying to spread democracy. So here's that Cold War tension, that Cold War conflict that is now going to start creeping into the Middle East. The first country we'll look at is Iran. Now, Iran, after World War II, is going to be ruled by the Shah of Iran, who is also going to be supported by the United States. So you can see the purple arrow here. Now, he is going to be I guess we can use the word ruthless, all right? He's going to institute some reforms that a lot of the traditional Iranians aren't going to be supportive of, right? So that's going to lead to a lot of animosity or anger towards his rule, right? And then the Iranian Revolution of 1979, he gets overthrown by Islamic fundamentalists, meaning they're deeply religious. They believe everything that's in the Quran is true. All right, who's going to be led by Ayatollah Khomeini, and this is him here. All right, so the Shah actually leaves and goes to the United States, and the Ayatollah is now one of the leaders of Iran, because it's actually going to be a group of religious clerics. Right, and the Soviet Union is going to be quick to recognize this new Islamic government and the new Islamic nation. Right, the Iranian Revolution was an important event in Middle Eastern history because Iran became extremely anti-U.S.
Teachers and students.
This was mostly due to the Shah's rule and the American support he had. To this day, the U.S. still maintains, and I put it in quotes, a difficult relationship with the Iranian government. Right. This event kind of spills out of the Iranian Revolution. Some of you may have seen the movie Argo. Right, in November 1979, a group of Iranian students are going to actually invade the U.S. embassy. Right, and you can see them burning an American flag here on top. But more importantly, they are going to take more than 60 American civilians as hostage, and for over a year, they are going to hold them in captivity and pretty much try and blackmail the United States or force the United States into recognizing that the Shah was wrong, that the U.S. was wrong for supporting him. But after 444 days, the hostages are finally released. Right, the next event is, this should be 1956. My stuff is backwards there, sorry. Right, is the Suez Canal crisis. All right, the Suez Canal is located in Egypt, and you can see when it's very much similar to the Panama Canal. It's going to cut the travel incredibly from England or from Europe to the Far East, to India. Right, so the Great Britain actually is the first country to build the Suez Canal. Right, but Egypt is going to become embroiled in this Cold War conflict, where they're going to take Soviet money to help build, the Aswan Dam, other public works projects all throughout Egypt, and the United States and Britain are not going to be very happy about that. So as a result, Egypt is going to take the Suez Canal, right, and Great Britain, France, and Israel are then going to declare war, send troops in to get the canal back. The U.S. doesn't get involved directly because the Soviet Union threatened to get involved as well. So it's another one of those things where the United States is on one side, the Soviet Union is on the other, and it's kind of like, can't really go one way or another because they both have their nuclear weapons. And then the final area is Afghanistan. Now this is going to be sometimes it's referred to as the Soviet Vietnam, because some of the problems that we had in the Vietnam War, it was long, it was drawn out, we had a hard time fighting the enemy, they were using guerrilla warfare, the terrain was unknown. the Soviets actually encountered the same problem in Afghanistan. Now, this was a conflict between the Afghan government that was pro-Soviet and rebel forces in Afghanistan that were given weapons and training by the United States, right? And the U.S. is going to give them training. Like I said, they gave them weapons, and they're going to form a resistance movement or a resistance fighting force against the Soviets till eventually the Soviets just kind of withdraw in 1989, just like we did with the Vietnam War.